So today we're going to be checking out the Slick guitar. This is the line of guitars that comes from Guitar Fetish. That's a website that sells parts. And Earl Slick, of course, you know Earl Slick has his own line of instruments there. But that's not what's interesting about this guitar. What's interesting about this guitar is that it's $209 for the entire guitar. I'm very skeptical of those price points in guitars, and I always have been. I think I've always said, you know, hey, if a guitar is in the $300 to $500 range, I think you can make a pretty decent guitar. And I've come across many that way, especially in the used category. But never do I really kind of looked at the $100 and $200 guitars as a serious instrument, not something more than just a student level instrument. This guitar is really interesting for a ton of reasons. One is it was sent by Valiant. Valiant is a viewer who wanted me to check out a Slick guitar so much that he sent one of his for me to check out. So that's great. And if you guys notice, I'll put a link right now to it. I actually did two of these. I did the first one, we did a Sharpen My Axe, and that's the link to that. Thank you again, Valiant, for that as well. And we donated that to a viewer. This one will probably get donated to a charity instead of a viewer. We'll come back that on one of the podcasts when we figure that out. I want to talk about the guitar itself. There is a lot of features on it that are impressive. In fact, one of the most impressive features is this one-piece brass bridge. Now, when I did the Sharpen My Axe video, I said that it was a one-piece, not one piece, but it's a piece of brass, and it has individual saddles. It's all brass. It is very rare to see bridges, especially nowadays, made of brass. Even some of the most popular bridges on the market are not brass, they're aluminum. Gibson and Paul Reed Smith guitars have moved a lot of what was brass to aluminum. So it's really cool to see a brass bridge. At this price, it's crazy, especially I think when I looked online to the company that makes this guitar sells the bridge for like $40 just by itself. It's got a brass knob, a brass switch tip. That's for the aesthetics. I thought was cool. These are not brass strap buttons, but they are colored to be brass, right? They look like they're steel. They could be brass, I just don't think so. The tuning keys on the back, however, are kind of chrome, but then they have these brass buttons, and again, they look amazing. If you can't tell, the guitar is relicked. I didn't just abuse it, and it's not because Balance sent it used. In fact, he sent this to me brand new. He had them ship this straight to me. He paid for it and shipped it straight to me. One of the things about the relic on this that is not that impressive is that the neck is not relicked in any way. So the neck looks shiny and new, and the body looks old and rustic. I don't care though. At $209, I don't know how I'm going to get away with critiquing anything on this guitar, especially when I give you some of the interesting things that I thought were really, really cool about the guitar. The first thing I want to mention is that this thing came really nice out of the box. I had to lower the bridge, and I have not adjusted the neck in any way. The neck was perfect. The frets were a little gritty, but I was able to polish them using just a Addario polish sheet. Don't even have to look. Just by touching, I can tell this is the one we polished. It's a massive difference. There is nothing on this guitar I would upgrade. Of course, I would prefer locking keys for the speed and convenience of it, but nothing wrong with the keys. In fact, they sell these keys on the Guitar Fetish website. I would totally understand why somebody would buy these keys, install them on their guitar. The pickups also come from the Guitar Fetish website. Again, these pickups, not only just with the patina and the cool look to them, they sound fantastic. We'll get into sounds, of course. The bridge, there's nothing really to modify in the instrument. The electronics in them is fine as well. I don't know what you would want to upgrade if you bought this guitar. The nut is plastic for sure, and you could upgrade that to bone, graphite, or tusk, and that's maybe an option for you. However, the nut does pass what I call the 3G bend. The first thing I like to do when I get a guitar is I get a tuner, and I tune it up. This guitar should be pretty much in tune. Perfect, look at that. Awesome. Okay, and what I do is what I call the 3G bend. I take the G string. You can use the 5th fret, the 3rd fret, or the 7th fret. Generally, I'll use the 5th fret. Go ahead, hit it open. The tuner will now say G. I'll show that to you guys so you can see that. Now I can't see it. And now we're going to do it on the 5th fret. Go ahead and give it a good bend. Let me look at that. And we're still in tune. Ready to do it again? Still in tune. and still in tune. Now, for transparency's sake, I want you to understand that the first time I did this, it did pull it out of tune each time, and that's what I'm looking for. It takes about 3 times. That's why I say 3G bend. Takes about 3 times bending the G string when you first tune it up, watching it go flat, then it goes flat again, then it goes flat. And about the third, fourth, maybe sometimes the 5th time, it's always perfect, sometimes the 2nd time, you'll notice like this, I hit the G string, it's in tune, and it goes back into tune. One thing I will say is it's heavy, and that's something I noticed on the last one when I had the other version of this slick guitar. And this is an ash body, so it'll either come very heavy or come out very light. Now the other slick guitar, again, look at that review up there if you want to watch the Sharp Max, that had a couple dead spots on the frets, and we corrected that. This does not have that particular problem. In fact, it doesn't seem to have any problems other than just lower the bridge. I can see why some of these people are diehard, and I can also see, and if you're checking right now, you'll see that 90% of the time I checked, they were out of stock. In fact, this guitar's review took so long because I was waiting for it to be in stock. I didn't want to show you guys something you couldn't get access to, and I realized that if you're not pre-ordering this thing, you're not getting one. Okay, so let's go into some of the sounds. It's pretty straightforward. It has a bridge, a middle, and a neck position. Let's go ahead and show you that. I'm going to show you on my Princeton. I got it mic'd up and used an Ibanez Tomb Screamer, and I figured that's way it's pretty straightforward. No fancy rig, no fancy boutique pedals. This is just what it is. Let's go ahead and start with the clean on the bridge. Let's go to that middle position, shall we? Let's go to that neck position. I want to show you that with the low overdrive, how this guitar sounds really fantastic. Neck position for those big chords. Bridge position for those power chords. That to me is what it's about. So if you need in a spot in the song where you want to kind of keep that driving force, I'd go to the bridge pickup and I'd be like, then in the chorus, if I want a bigger chord, same chords, just go to the neck. What I love about this is exactly what I said. It has some crunch, some power, but it's not bright, it's not shrill, it's not harsh. It's made in China. Looking at it, looks like 3 pieces. That looks like a piece, that looks like a piece, and that looks like a piece. Looking at 3 pieces, however, keep in mind they did stain the sides black, and so if there's an extra piece that we're not seeing, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like grains, because again, this is going to have a very kind of lifted kind of grain look to it because it's a very thin finish. I love that the back plate is like a cast plate with his image on there. And I also like that they did the tilted back headstock. So you got like what looks like a 14-degree angle on here and a scarf joint. It came with Addario strings on it, which I was in shock again at that price point. In fact, so much so I even kind of went to make sure and double check that. And yes, it is Addario strings. The other thing I would like to let you know is that there's no fret sprout on this one. I didn't have to do any fret sprout corrections, which is again very shocking. I live in a very dry climate, and usually that's something that happens. I think that was more of the law of averages. I wouldn't trust that. Always at this price point, I can't imagine they're spending a lot of time drying the wood out and doing some of the things that they normally do. Frets feel actually pretty good. Again, they were a little gritty at first, a little polish made them great. And on that note, I'd like to say thank you so much for your time. Until the next time, know your gear.